Okay, we are live. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to our Clockwork Prince live show. I'm so glad you could join us. If you're watching now or after the live stream, I'm so glad you're watching. Welcome. And yes, just thank you so much. My name is Laia, and this is my co host, Bianca.
Hello. Thank you all so much for joining us. And I think I'm losing my voice. And thank you for all of the participation on social media. Just want to let everyone know that this book club is a safe space and everyone is welcome here. And we also expect everyone to be respectful and kind in the comments. So thanks.
Yes. And I just want to put a little disclaimer if my energy is low, I'm not feeling too good today. So sorry about that, but I'm going to try my best.
We got this. It will be okay.
Yes. Okay. Did you want to start with your general thoughts then? Wait, let me change the banner. There we go.
Sure. This is like word vomit though. We'll see how this
That's
goes.
fine. That's fine. I
Because
really
usually
couldn't write a lot because I
so
just wasn't feeling good. So if you wrote a lot, that's a good thing.
I took a bit of a different strategy this time because like usually what I do is like I make notes as I read on every chapter and then afterwards I go back and then I'm like, oh, I'll put this in general thoughts. But this time I had no patience for that and I just straight away popped stuff into general thoughts. So
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine.
First of all, I noticed that the Herondales and ghosts and death have a really interesting connection. Um, yeah,
Yes, because
because
Herondales can see ghosts.
yes, they can see ghosts, and they made it like quite a thing at the start of this book, so that we like knew about that. And then I kept thinking about the last hours more while I was reading this specific book, I guess. So like
Interesting.
yeah, and like there was a lot more parallels I noticed with that versus Mortal Instruments this time around. Actually, I don't know if you felt the same.
Nothing I could pick up on, so maybe if you bring it up, I will. But like you saying the ghost thing, the book I immediately thought about was The Last Hours. Like
Yeah,
Herondales and ghosts don't even ring a bell to me with the infernal devices. My
yeah,
mind immediately goes to Last Hours.
I
So
know, right?
maybe. Mm.
Yeah, because at the beginning it was like very like Will making deal with ghosts, and I did remember it before, but this time,
Oh, the graveyard with that like old lady ghost. Okay, now I
yeah,
remember.
they said it in there that like Herondales can see ghosts, more than other shadow hunters. So I
Yes, but
thought,
like I know that fact because of Lost Hours.
me too. I also associated with that and
Mm,
not this, but like she said it here already, which was cool.
yeah.
Um, and then I never like really noticed if that affects Jace at all. I can't remember if he ever sees ghosts, but now I'm like curious if he sees ghosts when they're other
I don't
people.
have a memory of it either, but technically he should because he's a Herondale.
Yeah,
But I don't recall. Maybe in the next two books to come, maybe Cassie Clare only um,
decided
decided that that was a thing in this book. So maybe in the next two books that will become a thing.
maybe we'll see. But like we're gonna keep an eye out for it. I love like
Mm-hmm.
this like kind of treasure hunt type thing. It's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um Oh, and then they also mentioned that the governments, like the mundane governments, know about and work with shadow hunters, which was interesting. And it was, I didn't know that before. Like, I don't remember that at all. I thought like they just didn't know about shadow hunters. Um,
I don't think I picked that up as much. Did they
yeah,
say something along the lines of the mundanes leave them alone and they leave them alone? Was it something along those lines?
something like that. But I think they may have said something like there's a branch of government that like works with demons or something. because they
I do
have to
not
know.
remember reading that.
I
I
don't
do
know.
not
Maybe I
remember that.
remember, but like I made a note here that the government knows about it. So
I don't remember that.
somewhere that was interesting, and like yeah, it gave me a specific memory of a different series and that being made super explicit. So it was interesting. Um, and then that guy, Starkweather, like what is his name? I can't,
Aloysius.
yeah, that one. I can't. My brain doesn't say it that way when I read it. It does a really weird thing.
But I know
But
it's a thing with books and names and things. Like I've never heard that name in real life, so the way I read it is the way it's in my brain, you know?
yeah,
And so I say Aloysius in my brain when I read,
I
I don't
think
know, Aloysius Starkweather. But I think Aloysius would also make sense, but I don't know, my brain just says Aloysius Starkweather.
I think I say Aloysius. I think that's what my brain does when I read it. I haven't had to say it out loud before now.
It's like
But I was like,
reader problems.
he's related to Hodge
That's
somehow.
true. That's
Then,
true. I didn't
and they
even
both
pick up on that. They
uh,
both what?
they're not like super nice people. So that was
I think
interesting.
there's so much I missed with this book, honestly. I
You went
missed
for the book.
I missed so much. But we'll talk about that in my part. But
Okay, okay.
me and this book didn't
Gel. Yeah,
gel.
it's okay. I gelled with it a lot more this time. I went and read my review of what I wrote last time, and I was not like into it the first time I read it, but this time I was like here for it, and I cried a few
Mm.
times. Um, yeah.
Where
Uh,
even?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Okay.
But like not now. Um. Oh, and I totally forgot that that whole middle section where Will and Tessa go to the ball. I totally forgot that that happened. So when it happened this time, it was like I was like reading it for the first time. Um,
That's a nice feeling.
yeah, it was pretty good. But also Nate, he really irked me. Like he made me so mad, and like the way that he would just talk about Tessa, I could slap him. Um,
Hmm.
oh, and then Sophie and Gideon was so cute in this. I was like, ah, it was just I don't know. That made me
They
really happy.
were. They were. I really liked Sophie in this book as well. And I think I mentioned in our last Clockwork Angel live show that like I surprisingly liked Sophie a lot, and I don't think previously I liked Sophie as much, but now I really like Sophie. And in this book, it just kind of I can't word today.
That's okay.
um,
She made more of it.
cemented.
Yeah,
No, it like not cemented. That's not the right word. It like it help me
solidified,
solidified. Kind of something like it like backed up how much I liked Sophie. That's not the right word, but it
forced,
re
enforced.
reinforced. That's what I'm looking for. It reinforced how much I liked Sophie because
Uh,
I really like her. I love her as a character.
I also liked her a lot more. Like, I think if you read it the first time, because you don't really know what happens to these people, you don't really care. But now, like, we've gotten attached to her because of future events. So, like, reading about her beginning journey is a bit better because she's a side character and she's a maid, and like in most other stories she won't be an important person, but in this world she does become important. So yeah,
I know. I kept thinking of her in the last hours while I was reading.
yeah, yeah, it just made me happy.
Mm.
um
And
oh, and
wait, can I add something?
yeah, yeah,
It made me really happy that Gideon um, went against his father and like stood his ground against his father. I think that was like such a noble and like good thing of him to do, and I'm like, I don't know, it just made me really happy that he did that, not only for Sophie, but also because he just knew what his father was doing was wrong. Because they kept saying that you'll do anything for love and you'll betray your family for love or whatever. But I think if Sophie wasn't part of the equation, he would have still done it.
Yeah, I think he's a good guy, and like he already started realizing that his father wasn't up to the best things when he went overseas, which I
Mm,
think is interesting and very like real as well. And that happens to a lot of people, that you grow up around certain things and you don't know it's wrong until you see how other people live and what they do.
mhm.
So it was cool to see. And I
Yep.
think I could finally tell Gabriel and Gideon apart now. I think this was the book.
I did not know they had different color hair and eyes. In my head, they both had dark, like dark brown, black hair.
They were
And
blonde in my brain,
no, in
so
my brain, they both had dark hair. And now to find out that Gideon has light hair and Gabriel has dark hair and Gideon has green eyes and Gabriel has brown eyes. Like my mind was a bit blown. I was like, where did this come from? And like, are they explained differently in the last hours? I'm quite curious. I don't know. But that just, I was also very shocked by that.
yeah, but I know who's who now, so
Yep.
it's good. It's
Yes,
progress.
Gideon is Sophie's, and then Gabriel is the poopy one.
Yeah, yeah.
But then my mind keeps thinking Gabriel is going to become good. And in my mind, I'm like,
Mm,
how?
yeah. I mean, somebody has to have a redemption arc, so I guess it's gotta be him. I
And I know we shouldn't really be bringing up future books. That's not the point of this. But the fact that I know who he ends up with makes me a bit really iffy. I'm like, "Ugh." Because I knew who he was with in the last hours, but I forgot his origin story and what kind of person he was. And now I'm like, how did no?
yeah,
Anyway, I guess we'll see how it plays out.
you know. And it's like difficult because I also feel sorry for him. Like he lost his mom pretty young, and all he's known is how his dad's been, and then his brother left for a little while, and his sister hasn't really showed up much, but she's like crazy, we know that. So I feel bad for the guy.
I don't think Tatiana was crazy yet, and I'm curious to see if in Clockwork Princess we kind of
Yeah, we meet her. We do
we
meet
meet.
her.
Yes, yes, but I'm just it kind of all clicked into my brain now, but I don't want to give spoilers. But like we're gonna kind of see what happens to Tatiana finally.
Yeah, yeah, because she's brought up just as like what happened between her and Will, which I like totally forgot about.
Mm,
The whole, like she liked him, and it's kind of really sad though that he didn't really actually want to have bad blood between him and that family. He did it because of his whole like curse thing that he thought he had. So that's like she was kind of collateral damage, which is a bit sad.
maybe, but that little thing that happened when they were 12, I don't think that's like the big reason why she becomes the way she becomes.
No, it won't be, but I think it has an
Mm,
effect because if someone embarrasses you like that in front of like probably a lot of people, mm, it's
yeah.
not a good feeling. But yeah, um, I also noted here that Jessamine is pretty perceptive. Like, there's that whole scene where they were talking to her, I think, when she was locked up, and she was saying like all of this stuff, and I was like, damn, she actually like really watches what's going on. And that's kind of foreshadowing as well for how she ends up being. So that was interesting.
Hmm.
Um,
I cannot remember how her story plays out. Like I know the end result, but I cannot remember what's gonna happen next with her. So that's also gonna be like a complete surprise when we read Clockwork Princess.
That'll be good. I think I remember the next book, like the important parts, a bit more than I remember Clockwork Prince, or did before this reread.
Mm.
Um,
Not for
also,
me, I don't think.
okay, it
Also,
made me, it made me sad that Tessa didn't try a bit harder to become friends with Jessamine. So, I feel like
maybe, but Jessamine like really just made it very obvious she didn't want to be friends. And like Tessa's friendship with Sophie is just so precious that you kind of don't feel like she needs Jessamine, but maybe Jessamine would have made different decisions
yeah,
had Tessa made more of an effort, but then I don't think anyone would want to be friends with someone who acts that way and treats other people that way. Stuff. I don't know.
like I don't know, like Jessamine is very interesting to me as a character, and she kind of wants opposite things to what traditional shadow hunters want. So she's in an interesting position because there's a lot of expectations put on her, so I feel like she puts up all of this other stuff to make it easier for other people to let her do what she wants to do with her life.
Mm, I
That
don't know.
makes
Her
sense.
story is also very sad. Like the fact that she just married Nate because he was the first mundane man to come
Yeah,
along. Like,
yeah,
sad.
yeah. And I officially hate Nate. I also totally forgot the whole storyline where he's not technically her brother, he's her cousin or whatever. So,
Hmm. Me too. I also forgot that part.
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Um, and then when she dreamt of like seeing her aunt after finding that out, that made me really, really sad during that
I
scene.
know. It was kind of like it was so realistic, kind of like her aunt came and visited her in her dream.
I feel like that's what happened. Like, I genuinely feel like
Probably,
that happened.
probably. But it was
Especially because,
kind of a bit, sorry.
no, no, you go.
Oh, I said it was like really heartfelt as well.
Yeah. And I was also curious because like Tessa is like a warlock, and all we've really seen her doing magic wise is her whole shape shifting thing. But there has to be some more type of magic stuff that she can do, right?
There
So
is, but we find that out in later books because Magnus then teaches her how to access her magic.
yeah, but like subconsciously, I think maybe when she was in that state, she was like projecting, like astral projecting and stuff, and maybe like visiting dead people
I
while
think
she was.
I think maybe she can visit not only dead people but people in general in her dreams because she
Yeah,
visited Jessamine as well in the Silent
yeah,
City.
yeah. Yes. And did you see Jessie scratched her initials into the wall? Did you see
Yes.
that? So it
I
was.
know, but it broke my heart when the diamond broke and she realized it was a fake diamond.
Oh,
But I was looking out for that part because you had mentioned it in the previous live show. I was looking out for it, but I don't remember the diamond breaking. And then she was like, kind of realized that that was also a lie.
yeah. It was very sad.
Oh,
I
so
feel
sad.
really bad for her because like she she's so bitter about her life because she doesn't feel fulfilled as a shadow hunter, and it's so sad. And then her like way to try escape it, she got totally hoodwinked by this moron of a psychopath, and now she's just like actually heartbroken. Just because she's kind of mean doesn't mean she doesn't have feelings, you know.
No, obviously. But she's obviously like mean for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't feel like anyone's mean for no reason.
Yeah. And then last point I have on my general thoughts was just a bit of like the parallels of Will and his son were interesting, but we can talk about that a bit later, unless
I'm
you want
just,
to
I'm
now.
so sorry. My dad's messaging me. I'm just replying.
It's okay. Um,
He just wants to know how I am. They're not home at the moment. Um, please say that last sentence again.
Okay, so saying the last point I had was just I noticed there were some parallels between Will and his son, which were interesting.
Yes, I think I spoke about this a bit when we were talking about the similarity in characteristics of all
Yeah.
the boys and stuff.
And did you notice, like, in the end of this book, and we just read the end of the other second book as well, like, they both, like, lucid now, and then the girl gets away.
I was reading your Goodreads review,
Oh, that was,
and you
like, a long time ago. I don't that was when I
didn't
read it
you
the
write? No, but it said, "Oh, were you talking about you liked it more because it had today's date on it." That's why I thought you just wrote it.
It posts it like it'll I don't know, Goodreads doesn't have like options to post multiple reviews. So whenever I finish a book, it'll just pop up with whatever's there. So I do need to go in and be like, I read it again and write something else about it.
Because it did say you read it again in that review, but now I realize that this is obviously your third time reading it, so it was probably the
Yeah.
last time.
I think I didn't finish it the very first time I read it. Pretty sure. Anyway,
Me too.
yeah. Got bored because we weren't
And I'll
invested.
talk about that in my turn.
Okay, your turn now.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks for all your thoughts. I enjoy that you had a lot of them. Okay, I literally have almost no thoughts, so great.
That's okay.
um,
We all
so my literal first one is that this book took me so long to read. Like frustratingly long. This book took me 2 whole weeks to read. Like
wow.
2 weeks for a whole book, and I only read one book at a time. And I read every day, and it took me 2 weeks to read. What's wrong? Is it me? Is it the book? Something has to be wrong.
I don't know. I liked the book. I read it like at a pretty normal pace.
I
I
know.
think.
So the thing for me is that I felt like it was extremely slow paced, number one, and the chapters were extremely long. Like I don't do well with long chapters. I really struggle with them. And these chapters were like the longest chapters in existence of chapters. And
Yeah.
it just took me so long. But while I was reading, I didn't dislike the book. I didn't dislike the reading. I didn't dislike what I was reading. It just took me so long.
It's
And
500 pages. It's a long book.
but but I normally finish Shadowhunter books in a week. Like I've never read one book for 2 whole weeks. And now I'm behind on my goal. Gonna have to like cram 2 contemporaries or something in 1 week.
You'll catch up. It's okay.
Yeah. But
Out of
I just can't believe it, like how long it took me. I don't know. And like I also don't understand how people can say this series is their favorite. Like yes, we like it. It's a good series. But I just do not know how people can say it's their favorite. I don't understand. And like you see people's shelves and then they're like, these are my Shadowhunter books, and then they only have this series.
I
Don't understand. I really don't.
don't know either. Like maybe if they read that first and only that, and they're like really into historical fiction and slow paced books, because I don't know. Like, I think if you read the Mortal Instruments first, you get really used to how that series was written, and it's fast. Like, the first three books blur together like one story, and this one doesn't at all. She really tried super hard to put a lot of extra stuff in, and I don't know. I
There's
can't
just
say
a
it
lot.
again either.
Something also I realized is that like in the Mortal Instruments, the kind of the climax of the books is way bigger than in these
Yeah.
books, in the Infernal Devices. So like the big climax isn't even that huge of a deal. Like, yes, Nate died.
Cool.
Cool. We wanted him to. Like, it wasn't such a big deal, but like in a way it's nice, but then in another way, I'm kind of waiting for something big to happen and nothing big happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I got more emotional about this book this time round, but I'll mention that in my favorite parts
Okay.
because I do relate to like scenes that make me cry. Anyway.
So, another one of my general thoughts is that there were a lot of moments that made me really happy. Like, there were so many happy moments, and that kind of made the book for me. Like, Will finding out his curse was never there, Will carrying on about demon pox,
Yeah, he was
Charlotte
really
finding Charlotte finding out she's pregnant, Jem's happiness over him and Tessa's engagement. There were just so many like little happy moments that just
happy.
really made the book for me. And I think without those moments, maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. But saying that, I normally always put 5 stars for Shadowhunter books on Goodreads, and I put a 4 star for this one
I
this time.
saw that. What was the reason for that? Was that just
I,
because it took a long time?
I don't know. This book just didn't do it for me. Like, there were those happy moments, and I enjoyed those moments. But the overall book, I don't know.
That's sad.
It is. But I think the next one will be better.
Are you sure? I think the next one has like a really long thing in the middle that like drags and
Oh, I can't remember. I just remember the ending was amazing. So I think that would make it worth finishing.
the epilogue is amazing, but it's a struggle to get there. We'll see though. Maybe it'll be better because we know where we're going this time. Because last time
That's
I was just like, I don't care at
Those were
all.
my thoughts as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like this time the book, like, we care this time, but more about the characters.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a very plot driven reader, and these books are character driven.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's what it is.
But also like I'm character driven, I think. But these characters, when you first get to know them, they're not that likable. That's the thing though. Like I didn't like Tessa when I first read these books. I was just like, you're boring as a main character. I don't care like about you. And this is just another typical like love triangle story, and we know who you're gonna pick. Because we just get his perspective. So it's obvious.
I have
But
something
then
to say about that in the question part, so I put
like,
that question there. Okay, and then another one is just like really random. The 2 horses, Balios and Xanthos, that show up in every single book for like 100 years.
do they? I haven't
Yes.
noticed.
Jace. Jace rode on
Oh
Balios and
yeah.
Xanthos. Sebastian rode them, and they're here. So now I'm like, do they keep naming their horses the same thing? Is it the same horses that are like magically kept alive? Why are they magically like horses? I mean, it's not
Maybe
like
they're Tessa's horses.
maybe they're what's horses?
Tessa's horses.
No, they weren't
Eventually.
Tessa's horses.
But
I
like
don't
eventually because like
eventually, but then they
yeah.
end up in America. Or no, weren't they in Idris? Those horses are everywhere. Whenever someone needs a horse, it's Balios and Xanthos. In
I
all
know.
the books. In all the books. It's the same 2 horses.
I've never
You
noticed
know
that.
when when Jace rode to find Valentine, he rode one of them. When Sebastian rode and he had that whole kissing Clary thing, it was one of those horses. Now these are this institute's horses, and this is like how many years prior, 200 or
But like
something.
maybe like Tessa like takes them and magics them and like I don't know.
Moves them to Idris or something.
No, because I swear, isn't one of the cats also alive for a really long time too? Like Church,
Yes, but that's
he's like
because I
mortal.
know. Yes, but that's like probably Magnus's doing. So maybe Tessa does that. I don't know. It's just an observation I made.
Cause she'd get attached, you know. She gets attached to
But would
things.
she? Because the horses aren't mentioned except for when someone rides them. There's no mention of forming a relationship with the horses, whereas Church is a special cat. The horses are just there to drag the carriage.
How dare
And
you
for
say that
someone
about a
and for
horse?
someone to jump onto the back and ride away into the sunset.
Okay. Have you ever ridden a horse though?
No,
Okay, then you don't know. Okay.
clearly.
Horses are special.
I
I
know they're
really
special. I know. No, I'm
yeah.
not saying they're not special. I'm saying
But
there's not a special mention of them in the story.
that's fine and well, but if you meet a horse, like your soul forms a connection with those big brown eyes, and
Mhm.
like I'm just assuming that if I was Tessa, I would not be able to say goodbye to one of those horses. So
Maybe. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just mean there's literally no moment where Tessa even looks at the horse. She doesn't even be like, "Hey, horsey, pet, pet." Like it's just Baelius and Xanthos are dragging the carriage. That's like the only mention of them. There's no bond. There's no mention of a
no,
bond, is what I'm saying.
but in like my like ideal
No,
world,
I
of a,
understand. I understand. But
or maybe
she doesn't even spend time outside with the horses. She's always inside. So I don't know.
I wanted to say something, but I'm not saying this on a live show.
Okay.
Moving on. Uh, okay. The horses are immortal. We've decided.
No, they clearly are. I don't know. They clearly are. 'Cause I don't think they just keep getting the same horses that look the same and naming them the same names. Like that's a little bit weird.
I'm gonna check Cassie Clare's Tumblr to see if people have asked about the horses after this, and I'll let you know.
Okay. Okay, that was all my general thoughts.
Okay.
So, you have a favorite part?
I mentioned a few things. Okay, so the main thing was Magnus and Will and their friendship development. I was like, they're so cute, and it made me so happy.
How
And like,
funny.
is it yours too?
No, I'm just saying how funny when Magnus kissed Will and he was
I
like and then he just didn't remember it the next day. He like just completely forgot that it happened because his brain is like on so much other stuff.
I think he remembers because he asked about it. And then Magnus was like, "No, you were dreaming." But I feel like we'll just let that slide because he knows. Um, but
That was funny.
like those parts of the book when they were together, I was just like so happy seeing them together, and like Will's personality and emotions really came out in those moments as well. But then also we got like to see some of Magnus's memories and stuff. I don't know. It was just a good time.
Mm.
Um,
And it's
yes,
like interesting because in the other book, Alec asks about Will,
you know.
and then now we learn that Magnus actually kissed him, even though it wasn't genuine. It was like for Camille to think they're together. But then if Alec found that out, I don't know how happy he would be.
Will's not alive when
Yep.
Alex is.
I know, but Alec do be having
Yeah,
issues about
he's insecure.
Magnus's past.
Yeah. Um. Okay, so that was a favorite part, and then
Wait, can I just mention another thing?
yes,
Um, I just love how like the connection between the two books, how we've just read about Alec asking about Will, and then immediately after seeing that relationship. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yes. This is why publication order is the only way to read these books. And my
Yep.
mind will never be changed. Like you can't do it. Refuse.
Yep.
Anyway, we're salty. Then
You are.
just a little. Anyway, Henry and Charlotte, like their scene together, I bawled. I was just done.
Oh,
Like,
where they were like telling each other they actually really do love each other.
how many
It
of
was
they
so
both thought
cute.
the other person didn't love them, and I was like, you little dumb baby. It's like, ah.
I mean, they've been married for a few years. I think 3 or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they're only 23. Like that's super young. And so, oh, I don't know. It was really cute.
It was. I was like, tears. Do you think Henry's a little bit autistic?
Maybe.
Random. He has those vibes.
Yeah, maybe.
And then also when Will confessed his feelings to Tessa, like at the end of that one, when he realized that she was engaged to Jem, I lost it a little and I cried and I was like, no. I know I put that in my favorite parts, but yeah, I can't. Anyway, what was your favorite part of the book?
Oh, Charlotte announcing that she was pregnant, and then not only that, but Henry's reaction to it.
It was so cute.
That
That
was
was.
my favorite part. Like Henry's reaction just made it.
I didn't mention that scene because, like, in the background of that, Will was being crushed on the inside, and
I know it's sad, but just that's why I'm saying not the pure fact that Charlotte said that, but Henry's reaction to it specifically.
Henry, like, they're so cute, and I wish we saw more of them throughout the book. Like, just as I was thinking how much I missed them, we had that scene of them like together, and I was like, "Oh my goodness,
And
I
then
forgive
and
you."
then yes, when Henry immediately just chose the child's name out of the
I
blue.
know.
Wait, what did he say again? The name was gonna be what?
Buford.
Oh, I read it as Buffett. English problems.
I love it.
I don't know. Buffett is what my brain said. Anyway, that was funny, and then it just got me thinking what their child's actual name was.
I don't.
It's Alistair.
Is
Isn't
it?
Alistair their son?
No.
Is Alistair
No.
someone else's son?
Yes.
Whose
Alistair
son
is
is Alistair?
his brother.
Who?
He's what's her
Alistair is
name?
Matthew's brother.
No, he's Cordelia's brother.
Oh, he's Cordelia's brother. Dude, all their children confuse me so much. I cannot keep them. What did they name the child? It's the older one, the one that
Charles.
was born before Lucy and all of them. Charles. Yes, I think it was Charles. Charles, but
Right?
who's the younger one?
Because he has a. I don't know. We'll get there.
We'll get
We
there.
got
I know, I
family
just,
tree. So
I
I
know,
don't.
I just always, I'm like, no, they're having a baby. Now I'm like, just who? I just want to remember who the baby is. You know, maybe it was because they did name him Charles Buford.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
his
name.
name. I
Like
know
it's so
my brain thought Alistair, but
good.
anyway. No, all those siblings are just so confusing to keep track of.
They are. It gets like to another level
hmm
in that book.
Charles, but who's Charles's younger brother?
I
I'm
can't
just really
remember
curious right now. I can't
because
not
he's
know.
not in the little groupie, so then I don't know
I
who
know,
he
but
is.
the younger brother is. Charles is the older one, but the younger one is in the group.
He is.
Yep. Isn't it Matthew?
Yes. Oh my.
Matthew.
Oh,
Yeah.
suck.
Charles and Matthew.
That's cute. Okay, now we know them a bit better. We're like getting to know these characters little by little again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that your only favorite part of the book?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Because I already spoke about all the little happy moments. Okay,
Yeah.
least favorite.
Um. Okay. I also mentioned a few things here. Apparently. So first one was how Camille just like steps on Magnus's heart, just like straight out there, and just how dare she?
Seriously, but I like that we get the story because Camille was in the previous book in the sanctuary being tied up and really tried to manipulate Magnus, saying that they love each other, and then you see now actually what actually happened, and she doesn't love him, and she was really just trying to manipulate him
Yeah.
um in the previous book.
Yeah. And like it was interesting seeing like they're both immortal and she has a totally different view on it. How she's like, oh, we'll love each other forever, and then but we get bored if we don't like go with other people every now and again. Whereas Magnus
Hmm.
is like, no, I'm like with one person, and when I'm with them, I'm really with them. So you know when he says that to Alec, he means it.
Yeah, and it's
So
really cute that he did say that, and that now you know Alec is his person.
yeah, I'm gonna
It's it
cry.
just gives it just gives it so much more depth.
It does. I'm actually gonna cry. Okay.
A little bit
Um,
ridiculous.
okay. Um, and then also just that part where like Nate and Jessamine betraying people again and being all yucky, that made me really sad as well. And I was just like, how can you do that though? Like they all love you so much and then you go and do this and just like blatantly in front of all of them steal information.
And I find it really sad that Jessamine just didn't believe that the like people in the institute like Charlotte and Henry loved her at all, and she just disregarded that just because of Nate.
Yeah. It's very
It's
sad.
sad because they like are her family and she just doesn't want to accept it.
Yeah. Oh, that's all I wrote there for my least
Okay.
favorite. What did
So
you have?
my first one, I have two. My first one is something I already mentioned. It's to do with the book, and that is the long chapters. I just think the chapters were way too long, like way, 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 way too long.
They were a bit long. I had to
Especially,
stop times in the middle.
I had to stop multiple times in the middle of a chapter, and especially like a chapter that stands out to me is chapter 11. I'm like, chapter 11 is the longest chapter in the history of chapters. Like I even remember the number of the chapter. That's how long it is.
That's funny. You keep like good track of the chapters though, and you're always like, I have 3 chapters left, and I'm just like, I have no idea. I'm just like
I
going off
know,
of
but I
chaos.
don't know,
Yeah.
chapters matter to me. They
Yeah.
impact my reading experience.
I used to do that when I was little. Like I'd like page through and see when the next chapter is and stuff like that. But now I'm just like, yeah,
I don't
I don't
know,
know.
because I always want to know when to stop. I'm always like, okay, I only want to read this bunch more, but how far am I from the end of the chapter? Can I finish it right now? It's that type of thing. And then
Yeah.
when one chapter feels like a whole ass book, and you remember that number of the chapter, it makes a difference to the reading experience.
Having said that though, like I said, I don't usually do that on page, but in this one, I did do that a couple of times just because I was like, can I pause here for a minute or am I going to turn the next page and then it's going to be the end or what's going on?
Exactly. That's what I mean. So if someone that usually doesn't do that did that, you know
It's
there's a problem.
yeah.
They're long. So no, they were just way too long for my liking. Okay, then my second least favorite that actually has something to do with the story is how crushed Will was over Jem and Tessa's engagement. That just broke my heart, but I did write a question about that. So I guess in a few moments we can dive deeper into that.
Sounds good.
Okay, then for the questions, do you want to read the first one?
Okay. Any links between this book and Mortal Instruments you want to point out? Um, Personally, I was more focused on connecting to the last hours, which I know I shouldn't have been doing. Just couldn't help it. um, but yeah, just like we already discussed the whole Camille and Magnus things like that, and then like I said, I wanted to keep an eye on Jace and his ghost thing because I don't know if that is going to happen. If he ever sees a ghost, I can't remember. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So mine was Wolsey Scott. So in the previous book, we obviously met Jordan,
Like,
and
yeah.
he's part of the Praetor Lupus, and Jordan tells, or someone tells, about how the Praetor Lupus started, and it started with a man named Wolsey Scott. And we get that background, and then
Oh,
next book,
yeah, he's so
we
funny.
meet we meet Wolsey Scott, and he's like such a cool character.
I love it.
So I just love that we just learned about the Praetor Lupus, and then immediately after we meet Wolsey Scott, and Will makes a little comment about the um, like necklace thing that Wolsey is wearing, but it's actually the Praetor necklace that Jordan
Yeah,
also wears. So
yeah,
that's just kind of cool to see the connection between that.
yeah. That was cool. And now that you mention that, I also noticed how, like, in this book, specifically, werewolves were dying and being taken advantage of. So maybe that's like what prompted him to start the Praetor was
Mm,
the werewolves being drugged and dying, and
maybe, but
also
I don't know. Was the Praetor already started? And I'm also not sure because of the meeting he had with Charlotte, where he said he can't keep track of every wolf in London or in the UK or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Did he just say that to Charlotte to like not put the clave on there on like
on this
I don't know how to
scene.
say it. Kind of, or was the Praetor Lupus already started? I'm not sure.
But he's a pack leader as well, so that's unclear, like whether they meant that in the Praetor sense or just because he's like a leader of a pack.
But he did say that he's the leader of like the whole of
Yeah,
London.
we know he is that. So like, meaning like they could have said that because he is a pack leader, so he should have like good knowledge of the
Maybe,
wolves.
I don't know, but the Praetor Lupus is also designed to help new wolves and stuff, like the ones that have
Yeah.
just been changed, whereas the ones that are busy like dying out and whatever is because of the Yin Fen and they can't be saved. So making a whole foundation to save wolves that are gonna die, you cannot save them, is
I mean
maybe
more
doesn't really make sense.
like you know, like even when kids on the streets or whatever, like the goal is to get to them before they get into like gangs and get into drugs and stuff like that. So that's also what the Praetor kind of does is like save them before they get into trouble. So
Maybe.
that's more what I meant is like because
Mm,
they were being taken advantage of and being used for things like maybe that's why he started it, but I don't know.
maybe. I wonder if we're gonna find out more about that. I don't know.
I hope
But it
so.
was just really cool meeting him. He's such a cool character.
Yeah, he's funny.
When he opened the door and Will was there and he was like, finally realized you're in love with me then. It was
There's
so funny. Like that's the kind of funny moments I mentioned that like kept me that like made the book good for me is
yeah,
moments like that.
that's cute.
Okay, I have another one. It's the Herondale dagger. So I can't actually remember now specifically because this was in the beginning of the book, and like I said, this took me 2 weeks to read. So this was like 2 weeks ago. But Will. Oh no, I do remember. So when Tessa and Jem went into Will's room to track him, Jem searched for the Herondale dagger to track Will with, and to track him to the
Oh, I
opium den. Yeah, and then it's the same dagger that Jace now has.
yeah, like a martyrs gave it to him, right? In the box.
Yeah. So then the dagger they track Will with, we see that it is Will's, and then it gets passed down. So that was also just a little link that I noticed.
It's so cute. I love the Herondales. Herondales always make me cry.
Herondales are like the most messed up ones.
They are hashtag problems. Um,
Okay, I'll read the second question. What do you think about Tessa being engaged to Jem and her feelings for Will? So I have quite the opinion.
okay.
I don't know. I didn't want to just write here Will or Jem because that's like boring and you can just say, oh well, I like Jem the most. So like no. Um, I'm just very conflicted. I think that's the best way to put it because I'm a bit conflicted because I personally don't think Tessa should be engaged to Jem and should be marrying Jem, although it makes Jem extremely happy and she doesn't want to take away his happiness. But Tessa feels towards Jem like she said it a million times, friendship. She like literally used the word friendship a million times, but Tessa feels more to Jem. Um, now I can't think of the word. I like had this thought out so nicely. Fond. She's like fond of Jem, right? And she cares for him so much, and she loves him in a fond way. She has a fondness for him, but what she feels towards Will is like passion, you know. And since the beginning of this book, it's been Will, 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 Will. And if Jem wasn't even there, she would only have eyes for, like, if Jem didn't have feelings for her, that's what I meant, she would only have eyes for Will. And if Jem did not ask her to marry her, she and that like whole moment with Will happened before Jem did that, or if Jem was never planning on doing that, Jem would not even be a single thought in her mind. She would have said yes to Will immediately. And the only reason she said no to Will was because Jem was at the back of her mind, not because she didn't actually love Will and want Will, you know? So, like, although, yes, Jem is extremely happy. We love Jem. We want Jem happy. We know he's busy dying, so we want him to have this happiness. For Tessa, it's always been Will. And Jem was kind of like oh, this is happening now, you know, in that kind of
Mhm.
way. But for Tessa, it's always been Will. And so I feel really bad for Jem in that way. And I just don't think she loves him, but she doesn't love him the same now. At least in this timeline.
I have thoughts.
Mhm.
Um, okay. So to answer the question, how I feel about Tessa being engaged to Jem, um, I feel like Will and Jem are good examples of different kinds of boys to fall in love with. And hang on, let me plug in my phone. This time it's not my laptop that's dying, okay? It's my phone. Got it. We good. Okay. So, different types of boys, like I was saying. So, in this one, Will to her is like very a passionate kind of love, like, and kind of how you feel about your first love, I guess, because she hasn't loved anyone else. So, like, her first real experience with that was Will, and there was this one chapter as well where who said it? Was it Magnus? Somebody had this whole quote about Will and how when he falls, he's like done. Like it's it for him. Like Herondale men, they fall in love once and they're
I
done. That's
remember that quote. I can't remember who said it.
I think I took a picture of it. I'm gonna get it. Hang on.
It was like fall, more like something else. I can't remember exactly the words.
Ah, here we go. Here we go. Oh my goodness. It was Magnus, so he fell in love, said Jem. It isn't that peculiar. Fell into it, said the warlock, still with the same faint smile. Hurled into it is more like. Headlong crashed into it. Still, there are always some men like that. Just one woman for them, and only she will do or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Will. But
But
also, like,
all Herondale boys are like that. There's no
yes,
Herondale who's not like that.
yes. Um, and they tend to have issues as well. All of them have issues, like major issues. And in the real world, that kind of boy, you don't marry him because no, like they're not gonna be like Will and Jace and be like good for you because that type of boy is bad for you. And it's okay to like love that person the one time, but you probably shouldn't stay with them, okay? And if this wasn't
Mm-hmm.
YA, fiction, fantasy, we'd all be like, don't do it, girl. So,
Yeah, it's a bit debatable because now we're finally seeing that Will is not a bad person and was just a front, and we see a bit of his real personality coming out, and that he's actually a good person who like can be genuinely nice to people.
but that's only because we saw his side of things. But if Tessa was your friend, like if she was me, she came to you and she's like, this boy, you know what he just said to me? You'd be like, leave that man in like next last week. No, you know what I mean? Um, and then versus Jem, he's never been anything but kind to her. So
I know, but that's like kind of the whole point.
I know, I know
That's
what I
why
know.
we want to root for Jem,
Yes,
but I think it's a
but
bit unfair to Jem.
no, no, no. I don't think that she doesn't love him. I paid more attention this time around because I also felt that way before when I read it. I was just like, this poor man, you're just toying with him. Like, you're just gonna like be with him until he dies, and then you're gonna go be with Will, and that's trash. Like, I hate you, Tessa. That was like my brain.
I know.
But
I also don't think she doesn't love him. I said she loves him. She
I
does.
know
But what
that
you
she
just said is literally the truth.
no, but they had those moments where they were like really like passionate together and stuff. And I think she loves him more than you give him credit for. And just because it's not as passionate slash weird and toxic as it is with Will doesn't mean she doesn't care about him just as much.
No, I know she cares about him, just in a different way. And what I meant was at that time she was passionate with him. It was like very much in the moment. But when she's living her normal life and there's someone on her mind, it's Will. When she walks into her room, where do her eyes go? Will.
Yeah, but like I said, that's not always a good thing. So
Okay, we're not here analyzing relationships. But no, I get what you're saying. I know. But
so it's interesting.
I still feel like I don't know, she's doing Jem a bit of a disservice.
Yeah, I also felt that way before, but my mind has been changed this time around.
Okay.
Yeah. And also just like because of how much those all like three love each other, I feel better about it because I don't actually think that she is just with him because of the commitment she made. I think she genuinely does care about him.
Mm.
So,
No, she
yeah.
does. She really
And
does.
from her perspective as well at this point, even what Will said to her, we think like Tessa's not a dumb girl, she is smart, so in the back of her mind she has to be like, are we sure Will only did all of that mean stuff because of him thinking he's cursed? Or does he have a bit of a nasty temper? Because like the other day he pretty much like asked her to be a pretty woman.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's very difficult because that moment where Will did tell her what happened and did confess his feelings, Tessa wasn't immediately like, but Jem. It was more like an afterthought. It was more like, but this is going to hurt Jem. Not like, but I'm actually more in love with Jem. It was like, I can't do that to Jem.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hmm.
But she also has this thing where she doesn't think about the other one when she's with the one. So
She
when
obviously
when
did
Jem,
think about Jem, but I don't
you know what
know.
I mean? Like when she was kissing Jem, she wasn't thinking, "Oh, but Will probably get upset because
But when
she's
she did
she's
kiss Jem, like
17."
that time, I know, but I know they're so young. But that time that she did kiss Jem in his room, she got back to her bed, and then Will was on her mind. It wasn't like, oh, that just happened with Jem. It was like, but Will.
Yeah, and then she still went, but Jem. So anyway,
I just think you like Jem more.
I don't though. That's the thing. I do like Will more, but I can see why Jem is a part of the story now. If you look at it from that kind of perspective.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying I don't think that she loves Will more or whatever. I think like he right now is going to be the love of her this life, and that's how it's meant to be. And she and Jem have a different kind of connection,
Yep.
a more adult one.
I know. I like their adult relationship way more than I like this one.
Yeah, and like Will, even later, he's very much a child. Like always, he doesn't really
That's
grow
just
up.
his personality, really. But I
Yeah,
don't. I don't mind that about him.
me neither.
Because later on, he can be serious when he
He
needs to
needs.
be.
Yeah. Oh well, I just love all of them, and I just want all of them to be happy. And this is why I'm around to read the last book. Oh.
Okay, do
Although
you wanna? Mhm.
she likes torturing people, I'm very mad about what she does to Jem. So,
Who, Tessa?
Cassie Clare.
Oh, no, I just wasn't sure who you were talking about. Yeah,
Okay.
Cassie Clare always wants to make things difficult.
Oh, she does, but she's a genius also, so it's fine. Um, what do you think of Nate's death and his final moments with Tessa? Uh, well, I think Nate's a bit of a psychopath, but I was like really sad for how that had to happen. I don't know. Like even if he was being a bigger ass than normal towards the end, it's not going to erase like how she felt about him for her whole life. She thought he was her big brother and he made mistakes sometimes, and then yeah, he was being really awful to her, but I think it was horrible that she had to be there to see him die like that.
Mm. For me, it was Nate not caring about her at all, telling everyone she's not my sister, like I don't care, she's like filthy downworlder, she's disgusting. And then he gets stabbed in his chest with a massive piece of metal, and his last words to Tessa are, "Where's your angel? Always wear your angel." And then in this like last seconds of his life, suddenly he cares. And I don't know, once again, that's just a bit conflicting. And with Tessa as well, she was trying to accept that he's a bad person, and then for him to just go and like actually care about her in the last few seconds of his life, like that can't be easy. It's like,
Mm. Like having a sibling and being mean to a sibling, it's like sometimes it's easier to be awful to the people that are closest to you because you know, like, at the end of the day, they'll still be there, if that makes sense. So,
maybe, I don't know, but I didn't think he was expecting Tessa to be there.
no, he wasn't. But maybe deep down he kind of was. Like, he's a bit of a psychopath. I mean, like, he killed his aunt slash mother. But
Well, he knew she was his mother when she killed him, and then he was like, "I'm killing you because you never told me you were my mother." But
yeah,
then
so
it
killing
was also
someone,
like, yeah, it was also when Tessa spoke about them realizing that he is not okay and that they just wished the good into him even though it wasn't there. And because there was that whole like dialogue that Tessa had
yeah,
about Nate.
yeah. No, like he's a psychopath. If he like doesn't have the ability to have a lot of those emotions, but he has something. If even when he was dying, like, I mean, that's extreme circumstances, but still in that moment he still did something to try and protect her. Like, he was kind of playing at being this like big important person in this world, and he did a lot of stuff to get high up because of how selfish he is. But on the inside, he's still like a hurt little boy, and he's upset because um his parents weren't really his parents, you know? So he basically just had a big tantrum all over the world, killed
I don't know.
people.
Cassie Clare always wants to make bad people be bad for a reason.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I don't think it's always necessary. Sometimes you can still have a confusing past or a bad past, but still turn out to be a good person.
Yeah.
You don't always have to have this like massive reason behind being a bad person. Because he was like that before he even found out about his aunt and his actual parents, and well, his aunt being his mother and Tessa's parents being other people, whatever. Like he was not okay in his head before he even knew that. So I don't think
Yeah.
that's a reason for him doing what he did.
No, not a reason, but contributing factor.
Maybe, but it also doesn't justify it.
I know.
Okay, what do you think about Cecily showing up? So I'll go
Yes.
first. Um, I don't, to me, it's exciting. I'm like, yes, Cecily. I don't know. It was just quite cool, but then also my heart is like breaking for Cecily and Will's parents because now all three of their children have left. So that's just a bit sad. But I
Yeah.
think it's cool.
Yeah. I guess like about time that she showed up really, because I feel like if she could have left before, when he left, she would have. But now I think she's old enough to decide a bit more on her own. Um, and it's a pretty opportune time in the plot to bring her in.
I'm excited for her story to unfold in the next book, like to read about her and see what happens with her.
I forget how she gets with who she gets with.
I also forget how that happens, but I know it happens.
Yeah, my brain's like, how? I don't
Yeah.
know.
She
But yeah,
is Anna's mother, right? She Anna's mother?
I know.
I think she
Yeah,
is.
I think
And she's like
because
she like just becomes this like awesome person, and I'm
yeah,
excited to see that unfold.
it's because Sophie's kids have those weird names, the
I
ugly name.
know they're like, isn't there a Eunice and a
Something like
and
that, and
a
why?
something else, some other name that I really dislike?
Like, why would you do that?
I don't know. Didn't she have 3 kids though?
I think she
Yeah, she
has
had
a
2 daughters and a son.
yes.
Oh no, the son's name is Thomas. Sophie's son is Thomas from the
Oh,
first butler dude. She named her son after him, like Cyril's brother. She named her
yeah.
son after Thomas.
I just realized that no,
Oh, I knew that all along.
my brain didn't click. It's because they all have like similar names and stuff. I'm just like, whatever.
Oh
Just
no, oh no, I clicked that because Thomas isn't actually a regular name, and I like knew where Sophie came from and Thomas's death, and I knew Thomas was named after that. We obviously know who James is named after, and I pointed out where Lucy's named after.
I saw that in this book again. I was like,
Mhm.
gotcha.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
like I in last hours, I was like too focused on figuring out who is who and who are they related to, and I was just like, I have no idea what's going
I know
on.
it makes more sense after Chain of Iron though. Like Chain of Gold was confusing, but it makes more sense after Chain of Iron.
Yeah, but
And I
by
think
that
when
time,
we reread,
I'd forgotten that Thomas existed. So
oh yeah, but yes, so Sophie did name her child after Thomas.
that's so sad. Mm.
I just want to know what the other sister's name is now.
Is it like Beatrice or
No,
something?
it's not Beatrice. It's like something not very pretty, and Beatrice is pretty,
I don't know.
isn't it? Now I want to Google that.
I'm going to.
Okay, enjoy.
Mm. Let's
That's our
see.
last question anyway.
Ah, Barbara. It was with a B.
Barbara. Barbara.
And it's Eugenia.
Eugenia, yes. It's not Eunice. I thought that sounded wrong. Barbara and Eugenia.
I thought it was Eugene, and I was like, that's a boy name.
Yeah. Barbara, Eugenia, and Thomas. I don't know where the
Interesting.
other 2 names came from, but at least we know where Thomas comes from. But
They must
Barbara
have.
and Eugenia aren't really part of the story.
No, they're just there, and we know they have ugly names and whatever.
I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, anything else you want to add before we end?
I can take a quick scroll through my quotes that I took pictures of. I think. Let's see. Oh, and they said he has the morbs. I was like, why have we need to say that? Well, that's funny.
The mobs.
It was amazing. I think the first time we made that, you sent a picture of that to me or something, and you were like, "We should say this."
Oh, I
That
don't remember that.
was funny. Mm.
Do you
Ah,
have a favorite character yet that stands out?
Um, Probably Will. I don't know. I always like the Herondale boys. I have a problem. So, yeah. What about you?
I'm like half tempted to say Will as well, but I really like Sophie and obviously Magnus.
Yeah, I do like Magnus as well.
I like Jem less than I used to like Jem, which is weird.
Okay,
Okay,
interesting.
yes, you found a quote.
I found a quote. She thought of Magnus. We are chained to this life by a chain of gold. Did you notice that?
Uh,
Did
I
you
read
notice?
that. I didn't catch on. I didn't notice
I
that.
was like, I see. Okay, and we dare not sever it for fear of what lies beyond the drop. So,
I remember that quote. I didn't put
um,
that one. I didn't like put that together, but I remember that quote. She says it twice too, like throughout the book.
yeah. What is this? Oh, and then that the speech that Will gave when he was like, um, I read them all, every word you wrote. You and I, Tess, we're alike. We live and breathe words. It was books that kept me from taking my own life after I thought I could never love anyone, never be loved by anyone again. It was books that made me feel that perhaps I was not completely alone. They could be honest with me and I with them. Reading your words, what you wrote, how you were lonely sometimes and afraid, but always brave. The way you saw the world, its colors and textures and sounds. I felt. I felt the way you thought, hoped, felt, dreamed. That page.
That whole
Yes.
scene.
Yes.
That scene
That's
just made
why
me so sad.
I know. But that page, what he said, that monologue, that's why I put it in my favorites. I remember now.
Oh,
Not because it made me cry. It was like how good.
oh no. That scene just made me so sad.
My heart. Oh, okay.
Anyway, okay, well, thank you so much for joining us and for reading with us this month, if you did. I hope you are enjoying the Shadowhunter books as much as we are. And yes, thank you just for joining our live. We look forward to seeing you next time and for reading the next book with us.
Thank you, and be sure to join us next month for it's City of Lost Souls, right? That's next, yes. Um,
I
and if
forgot to
you're
put
not,
it in there, I see now. Wait,
um,
Heavenly Fire is lost, so yes, it's City of Lost Souls.
and if you're not following us yet, you can find us on Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter, which we don't use that much, but we do use Instagram and Goodreads mostly. So we are at the Parabatai BC if you want to join in and make sure to not miss announcements. Thank you.
Yes. And if you want to join a Goodreads chat, we have Goodreads chats where you can write your opinions and your thoughts on the book to be spoken about in the live show. So,
Yes.
thank you for watching. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.